Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have a fascinating research topic to dive into. We'll be exploring the intricate relationship between soft power and public perception, specifically focusing on China's efforts to influence developed nations. This is a compelling subject in today's global landscape, and understanding it can shed light on the dynamics of international relations, diplomacy, and culture. In this video, we will discuss why this research topic is important, provide real-world examples, and guide you through the drafting of a comprehensive research paper. Importance of research topic. The research topic on China's soft power and its influence on public perception in developed nations holds paramount significance in understanding contemporary global dynamics. It sheds light on the power struggles and cultural diplomacy of a rising superpower, influencing international relations and trade. Additionally, insights from this research can aid policymakers, businesses, and cultural institutions in crafting more effective strategies to engage with foreign audiences. Soft power is a critical tool used by nations to shape their image and influence others. China, as one of the world's major players, has invested significant resources in this endeavor. Real-world examples. In recent years, China's Confucius Institutes have been established across various American universities, offering Chinese language and cultural programs. This initiative has sparked both support and controversy, with critics suggesting that they serve as tools for soft power projection. For instance, former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo expressed concerns about Confucius Institute's influence on American campuses, illustrating the real-world debate over China's soft power presence in the United States. Another example would be, China's state-backed media outlets, such as CGTN and Xinhua News, have extended their reach into Australia, aiming to shape narratives about China and its policies. This media presence has been a source of concern among Australian policymakers and media experts, who argue that it may influence public perception and political discourse in the country. The debate over China's media influence in Australia exemplifies the real-world implications of China's soft power efforts in developed nations. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 1 of a research paper typically includes an introduction to the research topic, problem statement, background information, and the research's scope and significance. It sets the stage for the entire study by providing context, outlining the research problem, and explaining the rationale for conducting the research. Research problem. The research problem here is to examine how China's soft power initiatives affect the perception of its values, culture, and policies in developed nations. For instance, you could investigate how China's Confucius Institutes and media presence impact public opinion in the United States. Research significance. This research is significant because it helps us understand the evolving power dynamics in a globalized world. It can inform government policies, corporate strategies, and international relations. Research questions. How do China's cultural exchanges and educational programs influence public perception in developed countries? What is the role of media and technology in shaping the image of China in Western nations? Are there variations in how China's soft power is perceived in different developed nations? Research objectives. To assess the impact of China's Confucius Institutes on public opinion in the United States. To analyze the portrayal of China in Western media and its influence on public perception. To compare public attitudes towards China's soft power in different developed nations. Research rationale. The rationale behind this research lies in the need to better understand the global political landscape. For example, if we discover that China's soft power is affecting public opinion in developed nations, it could have implications for trade relations, international cooperation, and cultural exchange programs. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Moving on to Chapter 2, the Literature Review. This is a critical part of your research paper where you delve into existing knowledge and theories related to your topic. Some suitable subtopics for this research include theories and models. Consider adopting theories like Joseph Nye's concept of soft power and cultural diffusion. Nye's theory posits that a nation's attractiveness, culture, and political values can influence others. Literature gap. In the literature review, identify gaps in existing research. For example, you might find that while there's extensive research on China's economic influence, there's limited research on its cultural influence in developed nations. This gap is where your research can make a significant contribution. Chapter 3, Methodology. Chapter 3, the Methodology chapter, outlines the research design, data collection methods, and analytical approaches employed in the study. It provides a detailed explanation of how the research was conducted, including the conceptual framework, research philosophy, approach, strategy, and data analysis methods chosen to address the research questions. Chapter 3 is all about the methodology. Here's how you can draft this section. Conceptual framework. For this research, consider 3 independent variables such as Confucius Institutes, media presence, and cultural exchange programs, and a dependent variable which is public perception. Research philosophy. A suitable research philosophy for this type of research could be interpretivism, as it allows you to explore how individuals interpret and construct meaning from China's soft power efforts. Research approach. In this case, an inductive approach is apt as you're exploring public perception, which is subjective and context-dependent. Research strategy. A mixed methods approach, combining qualitative surveys and quantitative data analysis, can provide a holistic view of the research problem. Data analysis method. Use both quantitative and qualitative methods. For instance, quantitative data can be analyzed using statistical tools to identify trends, while qualitative data can be analyzed thematically to understand perceptions. Ethical considerations. Ethical considerations are paramount. For example, ensure that survey participants' data is anonymized and informed consent is obtained. Limitations and delimitations. Acknowledge limitations, such as potential biases in survey responses, and delimitations, like focusing on a specific set of developed nations due to resource constraints. Chapter 4, Data Analysis. Chapter 4, the Data Analysis chapter, delves into the results of the study and how they address the research questions. It includes the presentation of both quantitative and qualitative data, statistical analyses, if applicable, and a discussion of findings, often using tables, charts, and textual explanations. Chapter 4 is where you put your methodology recommendations into action. If it's a quantitative study, explain how to analyze data, such as through surveys, and provide an example of an appropriate sample size, like 1,000 participants. If it's qualitative, explain how to analyze qualitative data, such as through content analysis, and provide an example of the suitable sample size, like conducting in-depth interviews with 15 participants. Chapter 5, Conclusion and Recommendations. The conclusion chapter provides a summary of your findings and the significance of your research. It's a crucial part of your paper because it ties everything together. The recommendations chapter is where you offer practical suggestions based on your research findings. For instance, you might recommend that governments invest more in promoting their own cultures and values to counteract the influence of foreign soft power. Suggestions for future research. Lastly, consider future research. Here are some suggestions. Investigate the effectiveness of different soft power tools, such as media, education, or diplomatic initiatives. Analyze the impact of soft power on policymaking in developed nations. Examine the influence of other nations' soft power in the same context. Well, that wraps up our YouTube script on the importance of researching China's soft power and public perception in developed nations. We hope this has been informative and helpful for anyone interested in diving into this intriguing field of study. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting research content, and as always, stay curious.